Because if we didn't hear nothing by
Hold on,
now.
hold on. We are live now. So thank you everybody for tuning in. I apologize for the lateness. And we had a tribute special for Mr. Larry Dodson. And that is why you're looking at Law LAW, who was a special guest last time. So we're just gonna have a part two. Why not?
I say why not? I'm always down for that. Thank you for having me again. So I appreciate it.
Thank you for so first of all, for everybody who's maybe just watching. So today I was supposed to have my special guest Larry Dodson. So and we were doing Law was doing a tribute, a guitar and singing tribute for Mr. Dodson of the Barcades.
True story.
So that's why you're looking at Law. So we right now we're just okay. So so how do you feel about the Bruno Mars, the whole Grammy performance? That was fire.
Man, listen here. As I've said on many occasions and many interviews, many of my Facebook posts, Instagram, whatever the hell you want to call it, from day one, I've been a Bruno fan. That's number one. Number two, I had the opportunity to actually do a couple of shows with him overseas during the when he put out Unorthodox Jukebox, and I had a chance to tell him what I felt about what he's doing in music, because I've always said, when you have allies, because it never fails. Anytime Bruno comes out with anything, my phone blows up and people be like, "Yo, Lord, I gotta keep telling you, man. I don't know if you get tired of hearing it, but." When Bruno does stuff, it always makes me think about you and some of the other people and things and people you work. I said, because we're all cut from the same cloth, and people have to remember that. So anytime him or Anderson .Paak, of course D'Angelo and Maxwell and all the regulars, as we say, all the guys that when they put out music or when they're going to be on any of these award shows, it represents the plethora of us guys that are still true to the art form of what we do. So this Silk Sonic thing with him and when the minute I heard that was happening, I just shook my head like, oh, it's about to be I said, that's going to be crazy, because I love both of those guys insanely. So it's like, for me, it's just a beautiful thing to watch, that here's two guys, both sides, so with all due respect, they have the machine behind them. They're like one of the two real artists that actually have the machine. And Maxwell and D'Angelo do too, but if you notice, they play by their own rules. They're one of the few people that actually have a say in what they do, regardless of them being backed by a major label. So, it just gives artists like me more power. It just gives me more leverage to keep doing what I'm doing and keep going the route that I'm going independently. So I love it. I can't wait for the whole album. And plus, my mentor is hosting it. So it's Bootsy. That's my P-Funk mentor. So it's like, that's Uncle. So, yeah. I mean, look, you can't go wrong with Bootsy.
Can't go wrong. That's true. Yes.
Can't go wrong. And that's the great look. That's the greatest. If they never get another co-sign from any other legendary artists, there it is. Now you know how I feel when George Clinton co-signed my stuff.
Yeah, because that's the best of the best.
It's the feeling. So I know how Bruno and Anderson got to feel. That's why I said I relate to them so much. I got a few years on them, so it's almost like we're in the same classification. I'm just like, if you put all us guys in one room, that would be insane, because we all have the same heroes. We all studied the same footage, so I'm never surprised. Like when they spazzed out with that Little Richard tribute, everybody's like, oh, I'm not surprised. Look who Bruno is. Look what Bruno grew up around. Bruno's father's from Brooklyn. There it is. It's a certain language you got to speak when you're from my town, and then musically as well. So it's the same thing. Yeah.
I definitely. So look, I put Mr. Larry is running late. So everybody who's tuning in again, Law is here because he was doing the guitar and the singing tribute to Mr. Dodson. So the show must go on.
Yes, absolutely.
And respect to music. Mm-hmm. So what about the Grammys? How did you feel about the Grammys in terms of the diversity, the whole? So Tamika Mallory, in terms of the not Little Durk, I was about to say Little Durk, Little Baby.
Mm-hmm. This is always, and it's not your fault. It has nothing to do with you, but every interview that I ever do,
you're freezing.
mean, I can pull anything else. It begs the wonder, like for me, I'm very um, I, I'm always I'm divided sometimes. I'm very divided. I don't know how that.
I'm still. Can you hear me? It's freezing. Can you
Okay,
hear me? I don't know what's going on with this internet.
let's go back to that.
Okay, hold on. You blacked out. I don't know what's going on. Okay, let me see. It going. Hold on. No, remove. Hold on. Don't know. See me? I don't know what's going on my internet. Oh my god. This is just all the way wrong. So for everybody that's watching, thank you for watching. I am waiting for Mr. Larry to get here. Hold on one second. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. That is crazy.
That was really crazy.
Like my internet is like, oh my God.
Well, your
It
internet's
did
acting
that
up.
when I interviewed H-Town.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
They was talking. Look, it was so funny. Shazelle was jealous of me. He was like, remember Teddy Riley? I said, with the Wi-Fi.
That's always the case, ain't it?
It was funny though. I wasn't mad. I was here for it. We just kept going. I was like, and I had a co-host, so I was like, thank God my co-host was there. And so they were just, so we got the tribute out the way and we kept going.
Some things you're just not going to be able to change.
Yeah,
I've always just,
that's true.
I think because of the way this thing, because I honestly, and I said it before, and nobody really listens to me when I say it, a lot of things change because of the way the internet is, because of everybody after COVID. The whole thing is everybody that wasn't focused on their websites, whatever you want to call it. Now all of a sudden it came maximum because that's all we had. No interaction. Nobody can go outside. So now everybody went ape shit with the with the Wi-Fi and stuff. So
Yeah, so they had to like add more to the Wi-Fi, just like with school with teaching. People were signed on the Blackboard and it was awful. You would have to like go between Chrome and Google and Safari, different browsers, and then so it's a lot. But I just like I said, I'm just here for the culture. So
always.
that's what I said.
Without question. I mean, if it ain't for the culture, I don't want no part of it. That's always
so
my whole
just
deal.
roll with the punches. So in terms of music, oh my God, like, okay, so Her was amazing. Okay, that's what I want. So what are your thoughts on the Her, like, with the songs, the two songs? And when I mean two songs, like not the permissions, like what's going on with the team. So right now, Take 6 has been brought up because Take 6,
wait a minute.
Someone's not researching who's writing this. Okay, so someone is not doing their due diligence on making sure that people get their rights and their credits upon sampling and making sure that it's not sampled. So Take 6 has been brought into because first it was the one she did with the other one. So somebody in her camp is not checking.
Is this HER, right? We're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I definitely believe that it's not her doing. I believe that it's somebody in her camp that's doing that.
This is my first time hearing about this, but let me say this real quick, because it goes back to a couple of things we talked about before. There's a difference between interpolation and sampling, and then altogether being inspired by an idea. That's the problem I had with the Robin Thicke situation, because the thing is that when I first heard Blurred Lines, no bullshit, I said Marvin Gaye. I'm like, now mind you, of course the words are different. Of course the key may be different, but the vibe was too close. See, the thing is that if the vibe wasn't as close, if the vibe was close and they called Marvin Gaye's estate, different story. Then it would have been like, okay, you know what? It sounds too close, but we're going to give Marvin Wright his credit. That's the way you do business if you know that it's too damn close. But if you put on your own ego, and I don't mean that because, like I said, the artists don't normally do it either, but this is why you have to be very careful about who you let handle your business, because a lot of times what happens is that managers, publicists, and trust me, as a podcaster, I know a lot of times what happens is that they let these people handle too much of their business and they don't know what's going on, and the next thing you know, people are getting sued and all kind of stuff, and then you don't know what's happening, and then it's like, but we thought we were just safe in the studio. And to be honest with you, this is the reason why, with all due respect, even though I collaborate with certain people and I work with certain artists from time to time, this is why I like working alone, believe it or not.
You see the article? I
Yeah,
got it up.
I see it now.
Yeah,
Wow.
Take Six speaks out against music being ripped by DJ Camper weeks after her was sued.
Look, man, you know, it's unfortunate. I just say that because, you know, because she's such a talented artist, and I'm like, I know she does her own writing, but see, this is what happens a lot of times, and I'm gonna be very respectful when I hear stories like that about, you know, credits, who did what, how come we didn't get paid, who got sampled. This is one of the reasons why I'm glad that I am a self-contained unit. Outside of people who I collaborate with from time to time, like Jelly Bean and Monty and my artist Arizona Lindsay and people who I work with, when it comes to my stuff, I like working alone 95% of the time to avoid shit like this. Because the thing is just that it saves the headache. This is what you're learning more about me now as I'm talking about this, because you look in the back of me. This is why I have all my instruments back here and everything, that so people can know. Law plays 7 instruments. I play everything except for horns because I want to avoid that kind of stuff. So nobody can sit there and be like, "Well, I wrote that part of the song." I'm not. That's, to me, that's too much frustration.
Here's another one. I found out about that recently.
Oh, you
like,
just
why are people not doing their? Why are people not doing their due diligence? Like, this is big, and I'm bringing this up because I learned about copyrights in college, and my professor, my mentor, told me it's very important to make sure your music is copyrighted. Make sure that you give credit to those so that you're not getting sued. And that, hey, if you have to put it in volumes, you put it in volumes. Even if it does not make sense, you make sure it's copyrighted, because they will steal your credit. They will steal it.
Let me speak on this one, because as you know, C.C. Peniston is a very, very good friend of mine for some years now. So let me just say this. The first time I heard Juice, because mind you, I'm a huge Lizzo fan too. Let's not get it twisted. We love Lizzo's music. The first time I heard Juice, the minute she went into the la-da-dee, I'm like, now mind you, mind you, because anybody who's anybody, I don't care if you were born in the 90s, if you were a teenager in the 90s or an adult in the 90s, and even now, Finally is one of the greatest dance songs of all time. Who doesn't know that ad-lib when you hear it? It starts the song. It starts the song before she even gets into the chorus of the song. So here's my thing. Sometimes you have to know how to do proper business. And what happens is that even if it's an ad, it's too relevant in the original song to where, honestly, I thought, this is my personal opinion, when I first heard Lizzo's Juice, I thought that she had reached out to CC and probably got, because I'm thinking in my mind, okay, you know, this is too obvious in the thing. She probably handled business, and, you know, I'm pretty sure CC's digging it. And boy, was I wrong. When I saw the news, I was like, oh, that's it. I said, because basically it's no mistaking that. And I'm going to be very honest and respectful. Anybody in Lizzo's camp, or even her herself, and as much as I love her, anybody that has a problem with that or tries to deny that in any fashion, shape, or form, they are delusional. It's too obvious. Everybody knows that ad-lib. That's what's called a trademark ad-lib. It's a trademark. It's a trademark. It's CeCe's whole deal. That's how she got introduced in the game. Yeah, ad-lib and that song. It's too ingrained in the fabric of house dance music. So there's really no excuse. It's none at all. Yeah. Business should have been handled, and I'm Team CC when it comes to that. Love Lizzo, but
I agree. Like, and I watched the interview with her and Vlad, and she spoke on it. She said she got, and I said, that's all. I'm glad that you got paid, because she was back in the days,
you see how fair she was. Right? She said, look, let's not get it twisted. She said, I love Lizzo's music, so it's not like, who's this bitch? Why is she sampling me?
Yeah,
it's not that. It's just that you have to know in this business that unless there is a shot. Now, see, if it would have been a thing where she would have been like, you know, if CC was here, she'll do some shit like, and see, that would lead more of a conversation, because then it'll be a thing as to where, okay, let's sit down and talk about that. And my thing is just that it's too obvious of a trademark. It'd be different if it was an album cut that nobody never knew. But the minute I heard Juice and she did that little nod to CC, I'm thinking the whole time that she probably done reached out to CC and probably like, come get these coins with me, because I did interpolate your trademark in my song. But nope, it didn't happen. So
here's another one.
People see, but this is what happens when managers and
don't have communication with people,
and they don't handle business, and then they get into bed with these other people trying to push the music forward, not realizing we need to check. That's why if you look at most of these records, and this is no disrespect to anybody. Say what I said to you once again. When I see cases like this is why I'm glad that I do 99.5% of my own production, my own writing. 95.9% of the time is just me and an engineer in the studio. And I love it that way. Outside of the people who I've collaborated with, I it's really much of that whole thing. Now, I just saw an article with the Willie Dixon. That's not, I'm gonna tell you why that one is not true with Led Zeppelin. You know why? Because first of all, Led Zeppelin covered both songs. In the writer's credit, I have the original Led Zeppelin album. In the writer's credits, it has Willie Dixon's name. So I don't even know how that even became a thing, unless Willie didn't get paid. But Willie's name is definitely.
They settled out of it. They settled. The verdict came.
Okay, no, because Willie's name is on the original record. I have the vinyl. Willie's name is on the original writer credits. That's why I'm not understanding how did that even make a thing. I mean, I've heard various things about, Led Zeppelin. They say plagiarize. I mean, here's the thing. See, this is why I say this is a weird conversation. Not in a bad way.
Yeah.
It's educational. Because the thing is like this. Let's take doo-wop for example. Doo-wop, there are about 8 doo-wop songs. Matter of fact, let me do a visual demonstration.
Okay.
I'm gonna show you something.
I have one pulled up that's very famous. The one with Ray Parker Jr.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that.
That one is interesting.
I'm gonna show you why plagiarism, copying, or having the same bars is always tricky. Because trust me, if doo-wop was still popular, or if it was a new thing in this day and age, there'd be a whole lot of people getting sued. And I promise you this, I'm gonna give you a perfect example. Earth angel, would you be my darling dear?
I'm thinking of one.
There's about 8 songs in that. Watch this. Rolling Stones. Time is on my side. Yes, it is. Same chorus. It's the same fucking. That's why it's almost like, okay, can we? So who's going to do the suing here? Because the thing is that there's only
so many chords that you could.
I was going to say in that era, and my guitar's slightly later too, but in that era, it was slightly different because there were so many songs that had the same 1, 4, and 5 transitions, the same bridges, the same. I mean, it got to the point where Motown even copied themselves sometimes. Like they would sample each other. So it's like that part is weird. I think once hip hop came in the mix, that's when things began to change, because I think when people realized that rappers were getting away with so many samples that you couldn't just distinguish one from the other, and then when people weren't getting paid, everybody got upset. And I understand that, because I'd say like this: if they sample your voice or they sample your music, yeah, you should get paid. I agree. I totally agree. I can't even get mad at that. So
I agree. Like I just say, hey, educate yourself on the copyrights. Because people are going to sue. They're going to get their money, and I don't blame them, because do it right. Be respectful. Ask these people for permission. Sit down and do the right thing. Just like Justin Bieber, he got permission, and people were trying to come at him, and it's like Miss Bernice gave him permission. And so I don't see what the problem is. Like, why are we need to talk about people who are not doing the right thing, not getting the permission. So, and then like, I really feel like sangria wine. I keep going back to that because I am hearing it's the man's world. I'm really hearing that.
Well, I mean, look, let's go to the videotape, like they say, like Warren Wolf used to say. Let me see. Look, watch this. I ain't gotta say nothing else.
No, hold up. Was you playing? No,
Yeah,
what was you playing?
No, that's the whole point. That's still you didn't recognize the chorus. You ready? This is a man's world.
Yeah.
With you. It's the same. The only difference is that
it's the same chord. Yeah.
That's a minor.
Yeah.
But it will be nothing without a woman or a girl.
That's interesting because it did do.
Listen to me.
Yeah.
First and foremost, what is the name of Alicia Keys' first album? I ain't gonna say nothing else.
Songs in A minor, but none of the songs are in A minor.
No, that's what you're missing. They actually are. Not all of them
are, but they're not really though.
Yeah, I mean, it's the start. The starting key is always an A minor, but
A minor,
But I mean, of course, notwithstanding the changes. I'm not talking about the changes in the bridges and the courses, but the whole. Because mind you, a woman's work is the same key.
It is.
Key.
It is.
Now, mind you, but see, Alicia Keys, and I'm saying this because
she's a genius.
I've known that girl since she was 16. So here's the thing. Alicia, first of all, knows music. Let's get that straight. Number two, that's the reason why the first album was songs in A minor, because she's very particular. And then you got to remember when Prince would do It's a Man's World on stage, he would have one of the girls who sing with him sing Alicia Keys, I Keep Falling, to show you that the similarity. So the thing is that that's not even a hard chord, because I think it's so obvious with those chords. So, you could do that shit all day. It's not really. So now, mind you, there could be a whole nother other two songs that could do the same thing, but then it would still make for a hard case, because it's almost like, well, okay, if we're gonna sue them, we might as well go after these people.
We gotta sue everybody then. But see, Alicia Keys went about it the right way.
I agree.
Right. That's probably, And then also another song, I swear, like I was hearing something in another, so no parking on the red zone. I mean, on the dance floor.
Oh God.
So you know where I'm about to, no. So I found out it's sampled. It is sampled. So
it's just a freak show.
Yes, I was bringing.
Come on now.
Yes.
And my dance freaks gather around.
And that was from Breaking.
Yeah. But now I'm gonna keep it real. There was, and I'm gonna say it's respectfully.
They had the same producer.
But I'm gonna say it's respectfully though. Watch this.
Yeah.
The bar-Ks were often called the borrow-Ks in the black funk circles, because there were a couple of songs that either sounded somewhat close. Like, for example, Too Hot to Stop is basically influenced by Shining Star, the intro.
You know what else I found out?
What?
You know that song, Rumors?
Yeah.
Rumors and by Timex, and then
Jealousy.
I saw you walking in the rain.
Yeah,
play that one, and you could hear that with
Well, no. There's definitely a similarity there, but I thought she was going to say Club Nouveau's Jealousy, because the interesting thing about that song is the guy Jay King, the guy who produced Timex Social Club, made Jealousy in response to the former members of that group, because what happens that a deal went sour. And the lyrics, I read the whole lyrics. I'm like, oh shoot, he's basically dissing his former bandmates. It's crazy. I tell you, it's crazy.
I mean, it's certain ones that I hear it. It's like, it's so evident. Like I hear what's going, and they got just like Shop Around. Dee what's her name? She was on Motown, one of the white ladies on Motown. She did a response to well,
they always did response songs.
Yeah.
The Miracles' first hit was Got a Job.
Yeah.
In response to Get a Job. Shine-a-na-na. So Smokey said it. He said so in response, we wrote a song called Got a Job. That was our first.
Smart though. I like that. Just like Yabro and Peoples, they did Guilty as a response to Innocent by Alexander O'Neal and Sherelle.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, here's the thing. Back then.
And no scrubs, no pigeons.
Well, I mean, see, the no scrubs and no pigeons thing, I loved it. You know why? Because
Yeah.
the way, no, mind you, of course, I love TLC to death, but this is the way I felt, and a lot of other guys felt this way too. And I'm gonna be honest with you, because my thing was, though we understand the independent woman part of what they were speaking about, because I agree with the first two lines. All he talks about is what he wants and sit on his broke ass. Because I agree with that. No man should be sitting around talking about what they want. They're not working for it. I agree with that part. But my thing was also, you can't verbally assault no dude riding in the passenger side of his best friend's ride, because hello, everybody at some point that didn't have a car rode in the passenger seat riding shotgun or sat in the back. Now, mind you, I don't own a car. Does that make me less of a person? I'm like, no, because when he said that, this, and no opinions, he said, this ain't my ride. This ain't my ride. Yeah, this my man's. Yeah, but this ain't my car. Like, that ain't your hair. Hello. So when they did pigeons, I was like, thank you, because it's almost like if you're gonna say it about us, you don't get mad when we say things about you that are borrowed. You know, like you dressing up buying a dress the front and then take it back to the store. How many? I've seen women do that all the time. So my thing is that
I know some people in my family that have done that. Like they take they keep the tags on there. They don't take them off.
I mean, and it just that whole that was an era where you can make a response like that and nobody would take it personal. Because, like, again, I love TLC to death, and I understood why No Scrubs was written, but there were a few things in that song I'm just like, so hold up, you're telling me because you see me riding in the front seat of my friend's car, I'm a scrub? You don't know my situation, just like I don't know your situation. You can sit there in front all you want to and just be like, I'm in the pit. I'm like, yeah, but if I see you putting on a hair weave, or if I see you buying a dress to front and take it back to the store, and then if you got more than one baby father, you in no position to talk shit about anybody. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
You can't really sit there and call no guy no scrub, because it's almost like, then what should I call you? A pigeon. Because it's almost like, don't insult me if I'm gonna insult you. So the male versus female thing, I understood it.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's cool. I mean, no, the song I was talking about was it's called Don't Hang Up the Telephone. Listen to that. And you'll hear Orange Juice Jones all the way, and then also Watching You with Steve Arrington.
Oh, I know the story behind that. The story behind that is Odyssey's Inside Out. Same producer. Jimmy Douglas is the guy that ended up working with Timberland years later. Jimmy Douglas was Slay's producer. So basically, they had a couple, not the bass, but they had a couple of musicians. Actually, my Uncle Sandy, rest in peace. He was a member of Unlimited Touch. I Hear Music in the Street. Same guy. So that's one of my mentors. He played bass on Inside Out. Everybody thought it was Mark Adams from Slay, but it wasn't, because basically the whole concept of that thing was, we're going to make another song like Watching You and just call it Inside Out. So that's why those two songs sounded very familiar. And with all due respect to Odyssey, nothing's fucking with Slave. I'm sorry.
But no, Don't Hang Up the Phone. That's from Don't Hang Up the Telephone. That came out in 1987. That's from the Barcades.
Yeah.
And then I hear like The Rain from Orange Juice.
I mean, listen.
And I'm hearing Watching. I'm like, okay, but see, when I went back to do my research, Watching You came out in 1980. I was like, that was definitely it was cutting close. And then 86 was In the Rain. And then 87 was Don't Hang Up the Telephone.
Sometimes.
So yeah, something is very similar, but I don't think
it's always similar. Again, I say it again. It's always similar when you have a lot of artists and producers who are even influenced by one another, to the point where, like I said, back in the 80s, I'll give you a perfect example. Here's an even better example. Watch this. And this is a real example. It's going to blow your mind. Better example. In the 80s, there was so much influence going on. I'm going to tell you what one of the most influential albums are, and you're going to understand why. Without question, Rick James' Street Songs album, and I'm going to tell you why. Because Give It To Me, Baby.
I was just about to say that song.
Well, Quincy Jones said this.
Yeah.
Quincy Jones said that he basically kind of borrowed the bass line from Give It To Me, Baby for Thriller.
I hear it.
No, but Quincy Jones said it though. But Quincy, now mind you, you're gonna argue with Quincy Jones? He's the master. Nope. He said,
"Listen, that sounds just like it." Yeah.
Only difference is that Only difference is that with I got my bass here. The only difference with Rick James is that Rick probably
they added an extra note or something.
that part right there.
Yeah. That's that music theory. Like music theory is the math of music for a reason. Like it's so
same,
funny,
yeah.
but
It's the whole thing with that, and it's crazy because again, you never know who you're inspiring, and the '80s was such a clusterfuck of what I call musicianship because everybody was either being inspired by one another, copying a part of something, or taking a piece. And again, nobody never really argued and said, "Oh, that sounds like." Well, you know what? We like the song anyway. And some people just chose to just stay original. It's really.
So what about the two songs, the Kermisher? So Falco.
Oh, don't turn around.
The Kermishers in town. So they both, German for commission. So so who did it first? Wasn't it Falco?
Yeah, Falco's first.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you know why? Because here's the thing: Falco was a part of that group. He wasn't Falco the solo artist yet. That's why. That's why you're getting confused.
I didn't know that story. That was new because I would always
Falco. This is before he did Rock Me Amadeus. Before he did Rock Me Amadeus. Falco was a part. I forgot the name of the. What's the name of the group again? There's a group.
I forgot.
I forgot too. I can't think of something.
But I know.
But that's the singer. He's the singer on that record. Kind of like what it's the example is Luther Vandross's singing on the Glow of Love with Change.
Yeah.
We knew it was Luther, but the world didn't really know who Luther was at that time.
Yeah.
So.
And just like with, I want to say DeBarge did it too. One of their songs.
Which one? Because that's a weird one there.
So.
Because they're one of the only few original guys. So go ahead.
Well, no, so when they first with the albums, you can tell in the 80s when people were gonna go solo or what they were doing, they would set people up for that success. They would always they would make you the lead singer. Even if you didn't want to be, they would make you the lead singer. So you would have the person with the big square and you'd have the little squares. And it was basically forcing the fans to say you know what? That person should go solo.
Well, can I tell you about the DeBarge thing since I'm close to the family somewhat. So here's the deal. You're absolutely right about what Motown was doing, but I'm gonna be very honest with you. Mm-hmm. From the very beginning of that formation of the DeBarge family, I'm talking about those five, not Tommy and Bobby from Switch, but from the very beginning when the five first came together, L was always the main component anyway because L was doing. I mean, look, mind you, just so we clear, L, Marty, Randy, they and Bunny, they all write, and James too. As a matter of fact, James got a lot more burn than most of the other brothers did on the earlier records. So the crazy part is that L was always the spearheader because you got to remember he was like another Bobby. He learned under Bobby directly. Mm-hmm. So basically, hey, no, try this one. Oh no, let's do it like this. Bobby was L was always the arranger. Mm-hmm. But most of it, and Bunny would help him on a few things too, because him and Bunny wrote a lot together. They had a marriage that was incredible. They wrote a lot together. So it wasn't so much that they were poising him to just be the supreme lead singer, because in all essence, he already was. He was, even though they all sounded like, because him and Randy sounded
alike. They all sounded like.
But L had a thing. L just had
falsetto.
But they all have the falsetto. But
L they all have that. Yeah.
But L just had, you know what it is? I'm gonna say it again, and it's kind of like with the Jacksons. All six brothers are dope, as you know. I love all six of them. They're all beasts in their own right. But like I always tell people, why do you think his brothers made MJ the leader? Because they even though they didn't see it at first, the beginning, like, okay,
he had something. He had that.
He had something special.
He can make you feel that song,
and the way that he expressed it. It was beyond it. You know what it was? It was like the second coming of Frankie Lyman, basically. Only without the drugs and all the other shit that went along with it. Mm-hmm. So and I always tell people all the time, the Jacksons are a multi-talented. I'm gonna say that against people now. Mm-hmm. The Jacksons are a multi-talented family that just happened to have a lead singer who was larger than life, and I've always said that because basically Michael Jackson proved to be who he was at only the age of 9 or 8 years old. So my thing is just that by the
Rebe
time they got
sounds
to
good
Motown,
too.
by the time they got to Motown, it was like, it was clear to see, because all 6 brothers are my idols. I love all 6 of them, but I always tell people, they made Michael the leader. It wasn't something like, okay, well, since Michael's doing the most, we're going to make him the leader. When they finally heard Michael sing, they was like, no, you're going to come, you up front, Michael. You're going to be the one to help lead us to this thing, because you just got a thing about you. Because remember, the Jacksons were supposed to be a trio originally. Tito, Jermaine, and Jackie, because who were their idols? The Ozzy brothers. That's what their idols were. They wanted to be a trio. But then Michael and Marlon be like, hey, we want to sing too. And of course, it's the big brother, little brother thing. Okay, y'all, we trying to rehearse. Go away. Go away. I got a big brother, so I understand that. Go away, go away. Yeah. So Michael just like, I told you I could sing. I could sing. And then they still wouldn't hear him. And then when he did the talent show, saying Climb Every Mountain, and they was like, you know what? Yeah, come on, Michael. Come on, Marlon. We're going to put y'all in this. And of course, the practice and rehearsals began. So,
but don't forget about Rebe, because Rebe could sing too. Because when Guthrie is singing,
I like Rebe. I like Rebe's verse. I love Janet.
Centipede.
I love Janet, but I love Rebe's voice better than I love Janet's. I love Janet's my hero, but I love Rebe's voice.
Rebe got a nice voice.
Rebe has her. You know what it is with her, and so much style too. Her swag was always
like when she did the Centipede.
If you look at the old clips of Rebe from the variety show with the Jacksons, Rebe always had swag. Her whole energy was a vibe. Even when she danced, I'm like, and mind you, she's the oldest of all of them. So I just love just watching the older sister getting on the action. Kind of like with Bunny DeBarge. Like Bunny's the oldest out of all of the brothers and sisters, out of all the whole DeBarge. She's the oldest. And so seeing Bunny hang with her little brothers is like, you know what I mean? It's like it's the best feeling in the world to see the older sisters getting it. So Rebe, it was the same energy with her. Same thing with Olympia and Charmaine with the Silvers. They're the 2 oldest girls.
Yeah.
I love them. And
what is Foster doing now? Is Foster what is he doing?
You want to know what Foster's doing now? Foster is working with his brother Leon. I was in the studio with them. I've been in the studio with them over 4 years.
Wow.
Foster looks great. He's doing excellent. You're gonna laugh. Foster has a whole album finished. Yeah. He had a whole album finished, and he's been working with Leon on some stuff. They've been working on some stuff together, and I have had the pleasure of working not only with Leon, also hearing all the new stuff that they're working on now. So there's a new Silvers album that's already been done.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Their nephew played in Chucky as the black boy, Jeremy Silvers.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. Here's a little crush on him.
Here's a little fun fact.
I did not know who he was related to. I was like, I remember that kid from that movie when I was little.
Here's a fun fact for you.
Yeah.
Can you guess who is the voice of Marlon Jackson on the Jackson 5 cartoon?
Him.
Huh?
Him.
No.
Jeremy.
No, not Jeremy. It's the Silvers, but you wouldn't guess which one.
It's a girl.
No, it's not a girl. It's a boy.
Oh no. Leon.
Nope, not Leon.
Foster.
Nope, not Foster either. Foster's too young.
I don't know. Then I forgot.
Ricky Silvers.
Okay.
Ricky's in the middle because Ricky and Edmund sang. Edmund was the main lead singer, but Ricky and Edmund were closer in age. So if you listen to the first 4 Silver albums, the interplay between Ricky and Edmund, that was a combination that was dope because at that particular point they were the 2 youngest, which before Pat and Angie came in. So It's like that. Yeah. The Silver, look, you already know. I could write a book on the Silvers. You already know this.
They were bad. Like they were something else.
No, not they were. They still are. Listen to me. You didn't see my clip on Instagram?
I did see that clip.
Listen to me. Yeah. I wasn't exaggerating. I cried behind the mixing board. You gotta remember, this is the first time they had sang together in 30-something years. Wow. And there I was manning the boards watching Olympia, Leon, Ricky.
And they're based in Cali, right?
Yeah, Watts, Nickerson Garden Projects,
Okay.
So and then Pat and Angie was there, Foster was there. Only person that wasn't there was Charmaine, of course, rest in peace, Edmund. That's the only 2 people that wasn't there. But that family magic, and even with all they've been through, because everybody saw the Unsung and everything like that, even with everything that they've been through, to still get on stage and be able to harmonize and blend the way that I watched the Silvers do that. It brought tears to my eyes. They even did the original choreography that they did on Soul Train. Now of course, they it's a little slower now. It's not like as fast as it used to be, but it's still the fact that they remember all of it. They was doing Fool's Paradise, Wish I Could Talk to You. Not one harmony note was off. And here's the funny thing: the tracks were being ran. There are no pre-recorded vocals on the tracks. That video that I put up on my Instagram with the Silvers doing acapella, that's pure 100% live vocals on basic ass mics. That is the testament to how ill and great the Silvers were and how they still are. One of the baddest, without question, family groups in the history of R&B pop music, and mega talented, because all 10 of them has, like the Jacksons, all 10 of them. Every family group, I always tell people, even if one got more shine than the other, it didn't matter, because if you knew the history like I knew it, if you studied the albums, you knew. Like I tell you all the time, Michael Jackson didn't do all the work by himself. It's called the Jackson 5. I want to see you play bass like Jermaine and sing and do lead and do steps at the same time. It's about bass, not guitar. Bass.
Oh, yeah.
Bass is harder to play. You know that. Bass is hard to play. Jermaine was 16 years old playing like a grown man and singing, not trying to sing and struggle with a bass. They came up. That's the reason why the Jackson 5 were a phenomenon. They like, yo, Jermaine and Tito ain't even 21 yet. These dudes is playing like seasoned veterans, and here's the kicker: they didn't read music. Jermaine said in his book, but think about this. Jermaine said, if you put a sheet of music in front of me, I couldn't tell you nothing. But yet, Jermaine, Tito, Ronnie Rancifer, and Johnny Jackson, who played drums, that's a 4-man band, but it sounded like 8 people. Watch every live Jackson 5 thing. Watch it. These young kids were masters at this early age. Marlon, Jackie, and MJ harmonies never strayed. And then when Jermaine stayed at Motown, everybody was like, "How that's going to sound?" Watch the 1976 Moving Violation tour when Jermaine wasn't on it. Listen to me. Not one, and mind you, Randy was already there. Not one harmony note was off, and Marlon stepped up and sang Jermaine's parts, killing it. So my thing is, that's why I'll be like, no Marlon slander around me.
Hold on. Yes.
I can't hear you.
Okay, sorry about that. So give us. He's gonna be here soon.
Okay. Soon
So
in which way? And which what happened?
15 minutes.
So what happened?
We're live, so I didn't ask.
Oh, never mind.
I don't ask. You know we live. I don't ask.
No. I wasn't sure.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
No.
I'm happy. I said, look, we doing this for the culture. It's all good.
It's cool. Like I'm good. I'm good. You know me. So
how I'm gonna segue into it, I'm gonna do a moment of silence for the 4 members who and Otis Redding from the Wisconsin. Yeah.
well,
And also Mr. Ben Coley, he passed away in 2015. So yeah, we'll do that.
You know, my granddad was close to Otis. My granddad was with him 4 days before he passed. And I was in the studio with him when he did Sitting by the Dock of the Bay, and that's up until my grandfather passed away. He used to close his show with Trial of Lieutenant, and I would watch my grandfather. You can see somebody thinking about, because at the time he was like in his 60s, and he started thinking about, he would always close the show with, and I used to love the way he would close. He's like, the next song I'm gonna do, and they start playing the intro. He said, and people are going crazy, like, y'all don't realize, it's a good buddy of mine. And here's the thing: he didn't write this song. He wasn't even the first person to do it. Sam Cooke was. But when he got done with it, it was never the same. I said, that's true. Because everybody know. I mean, if you know history, you know Sam Cooke's version, but Otis that version to another plateau. So
I
every
like
time
What
he
a
starts
Wonderful
that,
World.
she may be weary. Like and people start going crazy. My grandfather was fighting tears. Like he literally, even all those years had went by, and he still. So I get him. Every time I hear Otis or any like the early bar case stuff, I think about my grandfather's stories because he was around a lot of those guys. But he knew Otis before the fame though. He knew Otis like before the fame.
And he was only 26 too. That was what's really sad about it. I mean, it was a sad. And then like Mr. Coley, he ended up, quitting in 1971 because I mean that's hard. I mean, being the last survivor, and I forgot what that syndrome is called. The lady, remember that lady from the duck boat?
Yeah.
In Missouri?
Yeah.
And all of her family died except for her and her nephew. So she's asking like, why me? Why did you not take me? Like her kids died, her husband died. It was really sad.
Yeah, it's one of those things you got to really. When I watch documentaries about things like that, the mind boggles sometimes. Like it just makes. Honestly, I just think if anything, it just makes you count your blessings even more. And it's really because I mean, we none of us. I say this all the time, respectfully. I don't care how much people talk what they know. None of us have the answers.
It's
None
true.
of us. None. We try. Well, man. No, don't even. We can't because.
This is like when doctors say that, oh, you have 1 day to live. Not necessarily. You don't know that.
No, first of all, they told my grandfather he only had 2 months to live, and my grandfather ended up living 15 more years before he actually left.
Yeah, so that's why at the end of the day, it's always God has the final call. He has the last call.
Yeah.
And don't never give up because at the end of the day, God has that call. He knows what's up before we know what's up. And so somebody can, they're experts because they're professionals, but you're not God. So yeah.
And music kept my grandfather alive. So I personally feel that if he would have stopped and didn't do it, I think he would have died much faster. I think he would have been gone already. So yeah.
My mom gonna say, "Get off there." It was, oh my God, no, Mom. It was Mr. Larry, so I had to answer the phone. I forgot to, mute the video. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. The show is
It's live. It's live television, like I said.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Hey, Carlos. I see some of my subscribers and people.
Oh, they up in here? They still okay.
Hey, how you doing? So, no, I mean, I just go with that's the thing. I go with the flow. At the end of the day, the show must go on. I'm here. We gonna have a show. And I appreciate everybody watching. I do appreciate and staying. If you can't stay, I respect it. But we're gonna get the show going. We're just waiting, and things happen. Just gotta roll with the punches. And yep. And sometimes, to me, I feel like when things like this happen, it makes for a better show.
Well, I mean, sometimes spontaneity is there. I always say, whatever you got planned, once you let God in the room and things kind of flow the way they flow, you have to let it just go.
Exactly.
Really,
Yeah, I like to always say there's a silver lining. I always try to see the silver lining in everything. So before I say anything, I just look at the silver lining of things. Something good always comes out of everything.
You don't have a choice. That's really the spice of life. You got to just take things as they come along. As they go. I refuse to stress myself. So, and neither should you.
Stress kills. Stress will have you looking ugly and wrinkly and
old and out of shape. Can't do nothing.
And in the hospital with medical bills and stuff. So
yeah, that part.
Can't stress, but. I was looking at Ticketmaster, and so April 1st, guess who's coming to DC?
Who?
Goody Mob. I said, oh yes.
Really?
Check your Ticketmaster. Like, they starting to open up shows and stuff.
Yes,
some of the stuff is postponed. I went as far as 2022, and I was like, wow, Christopher Cross is coming. I said, yes. I'm happy about that one. Yes.
Things are slowly opening back up. I think the promotion of the vaccine has a lot to do with it, which is a good thing too.
Yeah.
And just the overall general scope of it all, I think, everybody's kind of following the guidelines. LA had a very successful weekend last week in terms of them opening everything back up. So I just think if everybody continues to just go in this direction, we can slowly get back to, if not normal, at least a new normal that makes sense to where people are still being entertained, because I don't think anybody was going to be trapped in their house for the rest of their life. I mean, I didn't really feel that way, to be honest with you. I just kind of knew that it was going to take a minute, and it's been a year. A year went by just that fast.
It did. And I just look at when people, it's so funny because I remember when everybody was like, oh my God, I guess I'm going to have a COVID birthday. And I'm just like, why are you complaining about your birthday? You're old.
Not only that, but also
you too old for that.
Like I told you in the first thing that we did. Like I said before, anybody complaining about what was going on instead of doing something about it, instead of I'm my own environment. So for me, it was just like, okay, I got video games here, I got music here. So
I learned new things. Like, I learned how to sew. I'm still perfecting things. I played on a keyboard a little bit more and picked up some skill. I gotta work on some things, but also it was funny because I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a podcast show. I'm gonna go ahead and do a podcast show. So, at the end of the day, it's all good. I look at it like, hey, yeah.
See what I mean? Because it all comes out in the wash. You were able to really sit there and take the initiative and say
you had time to do it because you were at home working. So when that's the thing, there's no excuse. You got time to do what you need to do. The only thing that made it hard was you had to go and work out a little bit more. And then, you know, like you have to like really push yourself a little bit more than before. And you could work out at home, of course, but you know, so
Even though it exactly is not the same, because a lot of times if you're a person that's easily distracted at home,
mm-hmm.
you may not be able to get all that. That's one of the main things I love about living alone, because my hours are set in tune to how I want to do things, and then I kind of feel my way around. You know, if today's going to be an extreme workout or a light workout, like for example, I went to go. I didn't go to the gym today, but I went walking in the park. I did a 30-minute
That's
walk
good.
before I came here. I was like, let me just get that out the way, because the gym is going to close early, and it didn't make any sense for me to go to the gym and then I got to push the workout even more and then help and come back and then get ready for you. So
yeah, I appreciate it. I really do. Like I just feel bad. And for everybody that's watching, he works, y'all. So because people perception is like, oh well, they don't do anything. That's not true. Just because you're not behind this, people do a lot of stuff behind the scenes.
I don't even have those type of arguments anymore, because anybody that don't know at this point what us
A
creators
lot of
do,
people working. Everybody don't want to be in the front.
well, I mean, you know, I don't have a choice, and I kind of like being in the front sometimes. But I've always said that if God forbid, if there was ever anything to put me in a place where I didn't have to be up front, I'm good with that too, because that's really me as a Scorpio. I'm really, you know, the thing about being a Scorpio that people often forget is that we're introverts with extrovert tendencies.
That's true.
I have moments.
So ambiverts, the ambiverts or whatnot, where you could be by yourself or you could be with people. Like with Taurus, with me, myself, I know for a fact that I could be around people, but it's about energy. And I can also be by myself and be fine. I could be that person sitting in a room, reading or listening to music, and all is well.
And what's your sign again?
Taurus.
There you go.
I'm an April Taurus, so yeah.
Taurus. Yep. Aries, Scorpios, Virgos.
No, we ain't gonna talk about them Aries.
I remember now. My bad.
No
cap. As they say now, no cap. But no, it's not.
I have some friends that are Aries and they're cool people.
No, most of my many of my friends are Aries, and I think that's why it's easy for me to deal with them the way that I deal with them, is because of the fact that I know what those feelings are like. I know what those emotions are like. I know that when you want to deal with people on a general real level, and they're not real with you, it hurts. It hurts. So a lot of times, what you get is the, you know, the anger.
Hurt people.
You said
I'm not. Yeah, like it's just like you gotta. I don't know, but yeah. But
I mean, I say that in retrospect, because you know, the thing about us is that sometimes us Scorpios get such a bad rap sometimes, because personally I don't like when they try to add things to what they think all a Scorpio is. Like for example, I agree with everything that a Scorpio is except for two things. I'm definitely not the jealous type. That's never been me. And number two, I don't possess nothing that ain't mine. Scorpios are possessive. I said, nope, I don't possess nothing that ain't mine. Unless we had a conversation and I claim you as
heard that one. But everybody, that's what I tell people. No, nothing is exclusive to one sign. That's what I tell. Like it could be personality for everybody. So I mean, I get it, but it's like I don't know. It's just because they say Tauruses are or possessive, or no, I think it's a love behind it. That's what it is, because people care and they're showing you love. And so it's like, it's not that they're possessive. They're just showing you like, hey, this is, you know, what it is.
Because I mean, the fragile, I mean, from a male perspective, there's nothing more fragile than the male ego, especially for those who are narcissists. So like you said, no matter what sign you are, I've always said this anyway. No matter what sign nobody is, if you're an asshole, you're an asshole. If you're a great person, you're a great person. That's why I try not to really marginalize people by their zodiac signs. Even if I point out certain traits that a Scorpio, like for example, like you're such a Scorpio, because it could be something that I might have did that remind them of what Scorpios do. And like I just told you, 95% of what a Scorpio is, what you hear, that is basically me, except for those two things I mentioned.
They say that they got a mean streak, and I agree. My grandmother, I love her, but she was a very sweet woman, but she didn't take no mess. She was a no nonsense type of person.
Yeah, that's me.
And I remember like some of my friends, they would come over and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna go because your granny is looking at me wrong." And I said, "No, she not. That's just how my granny is." And then my granny, she'd be like, "I told you, stop playing with that girl. She fake."
I don't, it's hard to say. It's hard to say if I have a mean or not, because my thing. I mean, I've always said what the situation calls for, because I've been told before, yeah, you could be me, you could be. I said, no, it's not even that. What happens, like your grandmother, I'm very, you know what it is?
They can read people.
Well, you already know. We talked about that. My one thing about me, and this is the one thing I can truthfully say at this stage and age that I'm in. 99.5% of the time, my Scorpio intuition is never wrong about a person, about a situation, because what we do as Scorpios is we research all the data. We're the greatest detectives of all time. We research the data. And
no, I think Virgos are
order, and then things will make no. My mom's a Virgo, so I agree. My mom is a Virgo.
My mom's a Virgo, and she is a
my mom's a Virgo too, so I agree.
I'm always getting called out about being a detective and and I was like, well, you know what? I got that from my mom then, because
you know why? Because you have enough. Listen, you have enough combination and common sense to know that if something don't feel right or something just don't sound right, it's like, I don't know, it's not sitting well in my spirit. Like, that's why I said 99.5% of the time, for me in my life, in all of my years, I promise you, I have been more right than wrong about a certain person, about a certain energy, or a certain situation.
Mm-hmm. That's what my granny was. Like, she would be knowing before. She was like, I told you they're not getting married. They're not gonna get married.
And I hate, I'm gonna be honest with you.
She didn't mean it in a mean way. She was just being honest. She was just like, they're gonna always be that way.
Let me give you some game real quick, if you don't mind. From an industry perspective. Mm-hmm. When I first came on social media and began speaking my truth and talking my shit, I got met with a whole bunch of resistance, because, at the time when I wasn't pushing who I worked with and my resume and things of that nature, people looking at me like, who does he think he is? And then all of a sudden I'm making these predictions. They don't realize why I'm saying these things about the business aspect, because a lot of my fans began to realize, you know what? He's talking some stuff I don't know. Because when I would show them stuff, like, for example, I predicted that Nicki Minaj wasn't going to be on top for very long. And no disrespect, I'm just keeping it real. The reason why I'm saying this is because, first of all, what she had done in the game already with other female artists, her reputation was what it was. That's number one. Number two, at some point, you got to remember, you can't be hot forever. Keyword, hot. What's eventually hot cools off. So be grateful and be humble and glad that even if you don't win an award every year or every other year, just be glad that you got fans that'll just buy your shit and just rock with you. The minute you start hating on other people, that's what happened with her and Cardi B. And I don't care what nobody say. I felt that Nicki was hating. She was mad because now Cardi B is coming in the thing. And mind you, between her and Cardi B, in my opinion, Cardi B showed genuine, real love to all of the female MCs that influenced her. When she did Summer Jam, she brought Remy Ma. She brought and that's Bronx. That's both of them. She showed love. That's why Little Kim and all them, they love Cardi B, because Cardi B, that's why, look, and who's doing it now? That's why they love Megan Thee Stallion. Megan came out and said, if it wasn't for Trina, like, the first time I heard Megan, I'm like, Trina. I'm like, I could see the influence and all that. See,
I can see Gangsta Boo too. Gangsta Boo.
Yeah. See, the thing is that we know rap. See, the thing is that people don't understand this. And I hate to be going off a tangent, but we understand hip hop. When people be like, you actually like the city girls? I'm like, that's Florida, that's Miami, that's Liberty City. I know the culture. That's the culture.
Yeah.
That's the culture.
Yeah.
Strip clubs. That's the culture. Twerking before it became twerking in 2 Live Crew videos.
Yeah.
That is Miami-based culture. So no, city girls don't shock me.
No, it doesn't. I mean, I get why
I get it. Yeah.
sex sells. I'm not, I'm not downing any of it. You
No,
do
I
what
know.
you feel comfortable doing. And I'm not, at the end of the day, they're getting their coins. It is what it is. And I'm not hating on any of them.
And to be honest with you and respectfully speaking,
don't hate, appreciate. Don't be mad at the player. What do they say? Don't hate the player.
I have a different saying. Don't hate the slayer, hate the game. Because if they're slaying,
if you can't beat them, join them.
Well, I mean, that's impartial, because if that's the case, then I would have joined the Crips and the Bloods. but
no, I mean, like, if you
that was a joke.
I get what you say. I get what you're saying. No, but like, the thing is, though, you can't be mad at something. Do I be mad when you could ask somebody how you can be great? And if that person does not help you, go to the next person.
Watch this. Somebody asked me, how do I feel about Cardi B?
He's here.
Okay, never mind. Shut down.
Hold on. So when should I bring you in?
When?
Yeah, for the tribute.
Like 15 minutes. Let that man, let that man express himself. I'm
gonna remove you. Okay, there we go. Hi, Mr. Leary.
Hey, sweetie. Let me start off by truly apologizing for this is sadly this is a tough day for me, but it just got by me. I was on a call from overseas and the day of a radio show day, so it's been a bunch of stuff. But anyway, I apologize, but you got me now.
No, it's fine. Like, we're here for the culture. So let me remove my sign, because I had to put down that you were running late, because we were worried. We was like, we just hope everything was okay. So thank you, everybody. Yeah, so basically, me and Law, we just did a part 2 to our first interview and whatnot. So thank you, everybody, for coming in, for tuning in to Conversations with Dee. I have the legendary Mr. Larry Dodson of the Barkays. He's the original singer. Thank you so much for tuning in. And first, also, I want to say, I want to take the time, have a moment of silence for the 4 members of the Barkays and the late great Otis Redding, as well as Mr. Ben Coley, who has passed away. So if we can have a moment of silence for them.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone. It's important that I do that, because at the end of the day, these people have paved the way for others. And that was such a devastating time. And I say that because you were originally part of the Tempries. Upon joining as the original singer, we know that, right? So
absolutely.
For everybody that's not familiar with your story, how did your journey begin?
Well, you just said part of it. I formed the Tempries in high school, and we were sort of the high school go-to doo-wop group who terribly wanted to be like the Temptations. So AKA, that was part of our name, the Tempries. So we got to be really, really popular in the circuit, but never had a record, a professional record. So I joined the Barkays in 1970. After the plane crash, they reformed. They never had a singer. They were an instrumental group. So I've been the only singer through all 30 albums through the whole career. And as it would have it, the Tempries later came to Stax, and they had a string of hits dedicated to the one I love, Love Maze, A Boy Ain't Love Between a Boy and a Girl. They had a really, really good career, which they are still experiencing. We are all still very good friends. So that's how it started. And like I said, that was 30 albums. Gold and platinum, 20 top 10 singles ago, man.
Yeah, the 7 top 10 albums or whatnot. That's awesome. And 11 top singles. That's amazing. And a lot of people don't have that in their career. And you've paved the way.
We've had 20 top 10
20?
singles.
Oh,
20.
Oh, wow. I miscounted. Wow.
That's all right. The 11 was the albums.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Just keeping everybody on the 411,
Thank you. So
by the way, you were. I don't know if. By the way, I don't know if you're wearing that hat or if that hat is wearing you. You know, that is so cool.
thank you. I
It's
appreciate
great.
that.
I'm telling you, it's
Thank
great. That's a
you.
great look for you.
Thank you.
No
Yeah,
problem.
hats are my theme. Like I wear hat like all the time. And for people
Really?
who may not know this story, like I wear a hat because my grandmother, she wore hats, and that's kind of paying tribute to her. And also my dad, he wears hats as well. So that's like paying respect to both of them. They both like hats and I like
Absolutely.
hats too. So yeah, it's a part of my style. But
Oh,
you
absolutely. Keep
have such a thank you. You have
it.
such an eclectic style. Did you
Thank
face
you.
any challenges? You're welcome. Did you face any challenges coming into your own sound with the group?
You know what? One thing that I did have in my favor, there was nobody in front of me. So actually, with the band being instrumental group, with having such great luck from the very beginning, they were at high school, ninth and 10th graders with a #1 selling record, which was Soul Finger. It was a big, iconic, still iconic instrumental, but there was nobody in front of me. So when I came in, I joined in 1970, and they were already gathering material for their first album with a singer. But little did I know, so I was kind of thrown into it. But you know who really helped me? My at that point, he was the producer of the band. I had never done anything like that. I mean, the Barcades were like iconic to me, so I was just thrilled to even be asked to join. So I was really nervous, but when we did that first album, Black Rock, which to this day has been one of my better albums with the band, he made me reach inside of myself and pull this character out that it wasn't so easy. It wasn't so hard for me to do because it came natural to me. From that, I developed my own style, and I got the courage and the confidence that this could work. I didn't have to go way out of myself to do it. And I've evolved. I evolved. The stuff I did at first was sort of a combination of funk, soul, rock together, but we evolved as a band through all the different things that have happened, the changes that have happened in music. And once we hit that road, when I left Stax in 1976, when we left Stax, it closed. In 75, we did a big deal with Mercury. And from that point on, these gold records you see on my wall, started to roll in, starting with Too Hot to Stop. And that Larry D character, which was then as Larry Dodson, started to really, really bail him out then. So it was a very good career for me. Very good career.
That's awesome. Like, your style, like, that's another question I'm gonna get to because, like,
Okay.
y'all had a creative director or something because I'm looking at the whole Soul Train performances where you had the red pants on and then you had that nice little blunt shag cut,
Yeah.
the cut. I said yes. Like I definitely see. I was like, I like that. So you're also good at the pen game too. That's dope. Like you co-wrote and wrote over like at least 60 songs, and that's impeccable. Certified true. Let's get to that. So, what is behind that? What's the inspiration behind that song?
So during that time, okay, so James M. Tume was a good friend of mine, and I had kind of vetted him from the production standpoint. And we were kind of searching around for new producers to do 2 songs here, 2 songs there. Anyway, long story short, I went to Detroit. He said, Larry, he asked me to come to Detroit and listen to some stuff. I sent him what we was working on because we was like about 3/4 through with the album, but we needed something different. And also it was a chance for me to work with Sly Stone because he had Sly. Yeah, man, he had Sly. And I said, okay, I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I adored Sly. He was my mentor. And so we wrote Certified True together. I did along with am I with the right producer? Was it? Yes, it was. And we co-wrote Certified True. Another song called I Made Many Mistakes. And it ended up being a very, very incredible album. But what we did, I spent 30 days in New York with Sly,
Mm.
and that was incredible. It was one of the highlights of my career. He was a perfect gentleman, on time every day, sharp, and the stories he told were like priceless, priceless.
That it was.
I became Babe Bruh. He's coming, Babe Bruh, Babe Bruh. You know, so that was my name. I wasn't Larry no more, Babe Bruh. You know, it was
Wow,
very
that's
cool.
amazing. So another song, speaking of Holy Ghost, that has a nice analogy. Like your love has got the Holy Ghost, meaning
Yeah,
catching the
man.
Spirit, of course, and been born a second time. So definitely, how did that come into place?
One of the few songs that we only co-wrote lyrically, it was done by Henderson Thigpen and James Banks. They had a great idea, but let me just tell you, we did that song in 1975, and we were just very nervous about releasing it because of the content of it. You know, we in a Bible Belt, and when they got wind of it, they said, "Oh no, you know, you can't talk about your love like the Holy Ghost," and you know, so we actually didn't release that record. It came about 4 years later. Stacks had closed, and we had an album. We had a record called Shine. It was like in the top 5. And so when the company who had bought that record saw we was doing well, they said, "Okay, let's ride the wave. Let's release Holy Ghost." The record broke out in New Orleans, and it was on fire. It only a matter of weeks. It was like unstoppable. And to this day, it's been one of our biggest records. At one time, it was the most sampled record in music. At one
Mm.
time, So we were nervous about releasing because of the content. So it worked out though. It worked out. We ended up with 2 top 5 records, and it was all cool.
That is awesome. So I have a
Mhm.
little surprise for you. So a portion of my show is always paying respect to the great people that paved the way for all of us. And you are a
Okay.
fellow funketeer. And so I
So
have Mr. LAW doing a solo in a song paying respect to you in tribute to Barcase.
I'm all ears. I'm all ears.
Hey,
What
love.
up, Uncle?
Nephew.
What's
How
going
you
on,
doing?
man?
I'm good. I'm
Wow,
good. Always good to see your face and your smile, man. What's
man.
up in the
Thank
Big
you.
Apple? What's up in the Big Apple? You okay?
We're taking advantage of this newly spring day. Thank God. Now we actually
Oh
have
yeah.
spring today. So it
It's
feels like
beautiful.
spring today. It didn't
It's
feel like
beautiful
winter.
here. It's 65 degrees here in Memphis.
Yeah,
Bright and
it's
sunny.
about 54 over here, man. But yeah, I mean, where do I start with? He knows how I feel about him. I tell him every chance
Oh
I
yeah.
get, without question, in my top 10 of the biggest influence on me as a singer, bar none. Got a lot from him in terms of the vocal power, and then Barcade just as a band, because as in our circles in New York or the community, you can't talk
Hmm.
about funk and not talk about at least 5 or 6 Barcade albums. So it's always like a discussion that continues to reign in that comparison. So anytime that I step on stage to do anything, I always have a moment like, what would Larry do at a time like this? Like, what kind of what would he put there?
Oh, watch out, man.
No, I say that about you all the time. So it was only right for me to even come on
Yeah.
and just do this with you. You know what I'm saying? It's just more so to the part of it up. So we're gonna go there because
Go,
most of
go,
the
go, go
vocals
there,
I
go
kick
there.
now is from this right here. So we go something like this. Your love has got the Holy Ghost shaking all in my bones. I never felt such a feeling in all the days I've been born. Wow. Whenever I feel the presence, child, you seem to hypnotize my mind. Well, if your love has got the Holy Ghost right here, and I feel like I've been born a second time. Hey, hey, I got all that from him. Just that whole, that was the rip you had to get. My uncle used to test me. He's like, you can get that run, you good to go. So I was about 15 when that came. So just get on that part. Let me get the second verse now.
Really cool. That is so cool.
It's got the Holy Ghost, the antidote that feeds my soul. And if the ghost could ever describe this thing that sets my soul afire, you put a running in my walk, and you put a tremble in my talk, and this feeling that I have within only makes me feel like I've been born again. Hey, hey, hey! Just on that shit alone, just on that part, man. It just.
Oh my God, that is too cool.
And I say this all the time too. This next part right here is without question one of the greatest abrupt stops in a funk song. And my mother says to this day, when that part came on, that was the breakdown part. We used to get in a freeze frame. Just to show you how much he influenced me. So it goes like a 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow. Wow. Yee. Wow. That's what. Wow. Had the harmony in there. Just that whole look, man. And then this shit right here. One note. The whole go-go era right here. You already know. That's the influence of the bar caves right there. The whole go-go era, percussion, all that. Right here. Between the bar caves and Chuck Brown, the Soul Searchers, Trouble Funk, all of that is in this section right here. So to keep that part, and just like, you think it's going to climax a little bit, and then it goes here. I got one more part I got to do before I end it, but I'm waiting for it to come. So just that. And we would jam on this for hours. Like when I played my uncle's band, it was the same thing. Best part right here for the drummers. And that's all live instrumentation. Now, since this is the long version, I'm going to cut it short and go to this part right here.
Go.
I got you, Uncle. You know I got you.
Go.
Right here. You put a running in my walker, and you put a tremble in my talk. You gave me feelings that I never felt. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. It's the feeling that been the rock. I can't leave your love alone. It's in the spirit. Wow, yeah. See that shit? I'm sorry, I just stopped it. I get so wrapped up in it. There it is. That's it. I didn't want to prolong it too long. That's
only you can do it like that. Only you can do it like that.
Because I learned from the best.
I received that, nephew.
Awesome.
In pure homage to you, Uncle. I love you so much. Thank you.
You know I'm back at you. You know I'm back at you, dog. I am back at you. That's such a really, really cool thing. You know, you make old man feel good. You know what I'm saying?
Well, there's no me. Without the Black Rock album, I would have never discovered the part of it. And the fact that y'all could play a part in before I was born and then coming into my era of the 80s, which forced us 80 babies to go backwards. And because my grandfather was close to Otis, you know, the whole connection with that made it
Yo.
personal. Yeah, so that's why, you know, for me, it's always the lineage of that. So I tried to bring that with me every single time I hit the stage. Like I said, I'm like, what would Larry do at a time like this? Because that's a Southern thing. You know, I'm a city boy, but I got Southern roots. So the wow, my
I
grandfather,
know.
every time, that's how
I
you know they from
know.
the South. When you put a well in there, that's gospel. That's all gospel. That's from the
Mhm.
church. And it's like, we're from the same
That's
cloth.
church.
So when we get those feelings,
That's church stuff. That's church stuff.
that's why I understood the Holy Ghost. Even though at the time they said they might have banned y'all for it, we understood it. I'm like, well, I mean, it's pretty obvious what he's talking about. But the fact that somebody's love can be like the Holy Ghost, and every time we would sing that, my grandmother would give us this look like, really? I'm
Right.
like, well, it's the song. So and we never got beat for it. So that was a good thing.
Man,
so yeah,
you
man.
know, it's always such a delight, man, to see you. You're always in such a good spirit, and you know, you kind of know the era that I came from, and you know what? I'm telling you something. That era ain't really over, man. You know,
Never
just
was
like
over.
things, the full circle turns, and it brings about the good. The good stuff will always come back around to the top. I think we're in such an interesting R&B funk element right now. We got to the neo soul thing, and that was kind of close, but it ain't as raw as what we're talking about. You know, nobody could read music. It was all about doing it in the moment. And you know, some of the most amazing songs that came along. We wrote Freak Show in 30 minutes. Been one of the biggest records we ever had. Then
That
some
was our
records
breakdance anthem. We used to breakdance. That was our breakdance
yeah,
song. So
yeah.
that's
It's some records it took us 3-4 weeks to just kind of really bring around to fruition. But yeah, man, much love for you, dog, and that's such an interesting and such a great surprise, Funky Larry. How about that?
well, let me just say this real quick before I get on out,
Yes,
because this
sir.
is all about you. Let me just say this to
Yes,
you.
sir.
Thank God that you're still here.
Yes,
Thank God
sir.
that you're healthy.
Amen.
And like I always said, the testament of my success as a singer, as a musician, would not stand the way it stand if it wasn't for the influence of the Bar Case. Like I said, from the Black Rock album to Shine to everything that y'all guys had did, like I said, well into the 90s and everything that continued
Mm.
after that. There is no me without you. You're as obvious. I just proved to you your influence on me as a singer, as a showman, stands that test. I mean, Ice Cube could even say that he got that, got that from you. That's pretty much where it comes from. So I'm going to always make sure, no matter what the situation is, that when people give me props, they're giving y'all guys props, because that's the world I come from. The funk raised me, and that's hip hop. No matter what style of music I do, when we talk about hip hop, there without the funk, there would be no hip hop. And you are one of the pioneers and the trendsetters on a writer's level, on a singing level, and on the showmanship level, and as a musician. So as always, brother, you know, we family. Uncle, I love you so much, and thank you. I appreciate you.
You be well, you be safe, and I'll get back at you.
Thank you
I'll
so
call you
much.
later.
Thank you, D. We love you. Thank
Thank
you so much
you.
for doing this. I
Thank
Thank you
appreciate
you,
so
dog.
much
Thank
for
you.
being here. Have a
Absolutely.
good one.
You too.
All
Be
right.
safe. Thank you. Okay,
Oh,
so
that was so cool. So cool. Only he can
I'm
get like,
glad you
only he can do that.
enjoyed it. I'm
Yeah,
glad.
man. Yeah. So you got any other stuff up your sleeve you want to know? Yeah, I'm all ears. Are you
Oh
too?
yes, so yeah. So
Mm.
you actually brought up, like, so for instance, so don't hang up the telephone. Is it safe to say that, okay, so that was in 87. So I was
Okay.
only like 3 years old. No, actually 2, because I came in 85. So
Okay.
so okay. I hear some Orange Juice Jones walking in the rain. I know that came out in 86. And then I also hear, like, it gives me some inspiration of
Yeah.
Slave, Watching You, which that came out in the 80s. Was that inspired by them a little bit in the terms of production?
Well, you know what? Let me tell you something. One of the reasons why we kind of stay relevant, and this ain't just for the bar case. I think during that time we were called the self-contained groups, the groups that kind of wrote the music, recorded the music, played the music, and we really didn't have to go outside of our group. If we needed horns, they were there. If we needed keyboard players, they were there, and we did stuff live. My point is, I think all of us, the Confunction, Barcades, Slave, Cool in the Gang, Commodores. I think Earth, Wind, and Fire. I think we all kind of listened to each other, and we took little bits of this, you know, and little bits of that. And my producer, he always would refer, especially when we got stumped. He said, you know, I was listening to this song, yada yada. can we take a little bit of that and do something? And we had a unique way of doing it. And what kept us, I guess, relevant was I have such a distinct voice. I ain't Luther Vandross, but you could always identify record when you hear me, So I guess to answer your question, yeah, everything influenced us, and consequently, we influenced everything.
That's true.
And I can say that. I can say that now. Not everything, but I mean, a lot of what you heard on the radio during our era was a piece of the Barcades. It's just a little piece of it, and so we shared. We shared the piano. All black and white keys. We shared it in our thought process. Does it make any sense?
Yeah, it definitely does.
Okay.
So also, yeah, I believe it. So the Sugar Hill Gang, they paid respect to you in Rapper's Delight. That singing like Holy Ghost, like the Barcades on the mic, like the Barcades on the singing Holy Ghost, and like
true that. Okay.
Okay. So how did you feel about that? That they, paid respect to you in that song, Rapper's Delight?
You know what? As I told you earlier, Holy Ghost was one of the most sampled records in music at one time. There were others that came along, but the folks in New York loved that break, man. Them guys and the DJs, they would take that one section, and just play it over and over again. So when I hear homage, Coolio was one of the first guys to do. He took Hit and Run, and he did something with that. And to this day, Will Smith, when he did Get Jiggy With It, he sampled the very first record I even said anything on that. Nah, 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 nah. That came from a record called Sing and Dance, which we did. It was the first, when I first got in the band, it was the first thing I opened my mouth and said. So, and to this day, it is, as a matter of fact, look, here we go. You see this?
Okay.
What does that say? Get jiggy with it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
That was one of the most. It was the most recorded. It had the most sales. It was the most ringtones of any record that was out during that time. So BMI gave us. We had to go to New York to receive that, and it was because of Get Jiggy With It. And also the royalty statements had a lot of zeros.
I know that's right. Get those coins.
Yeah.
Yes. So I know you slowed it down on Anticipation in 82, and everything was pretty upbeat the years later. What led to that?
Well, the record label that we were on, which was Mercury Polygram, you know what? They looked at us. We were all making money off our up-tempo records. 2 Out to Stop, Shake It Around to the Funk, Move Your Boogie Body. She Talks to Me with Her Body, all the body records. And we said, look, that's another side to us. What about our slow records? What about this stuff? They said, leave them on the album, because if people want to get them, they gotta buy the album. That's why Anticipation, as big as it was and is, it was never a single. Unforgettable Dream was never a single. So, and I tell you this little quick story on Anticipation. The day, it's got this trombone solo in it. Okay. What happened was we were recording that day, and it was time for the trombone player. So Frank Thompson was on the floor recording the trombone solo, and in walked the Temptations. This is when the Temptations were doing the Temptations reunion, which had all 7 of them. They were in town, so they came by the studio to surprise us. And when Frank was playing, he looked up and he said, "Oh, wait a minute." And he was just messing up. So that's why the trombone solo got a little bit longer than we anticipated and really planned for it to be. And we said, okay, you overflow. Just come out the studio and come up and see the guys, Eddie and David and all of them. And that's just a little story about Anticipation. This is one of our favorite records. That was one. I recorded that record on one take. My producer said, nope, can't go back and do nothing to it. That's it. Yeah. Every now and then that happens. It's called magic.
That's awesome. So I know during the One Soul Train performance, I believe it was 1984, the late great Mr. Don Cornelius asked you, what would you be doing right now if you hadn't joined the Barcades? And you said that music has always been your whole life and you can't think of doing anything else. Well, no, that can't think of anything else you do. Ooh, I had to say it right.
Mm,
And I
that's
looked at
true.
it, I was like, wow, like you could really tell that you love the artistry, that it really is something that you embodied. And so like that performance, I remember at the end, like just like what you said, I was like, oh my God, like I watched them, like that's amazing.
It was really the truth. And you know what? Let me tell you this. And I share these kind of stories in my book. The book is called And the Band Plays On. But when Don Cornelius had his first show in Chicago on the 45th floor, it wasn't called Soul Train then. We were the
Mm,
first band to ever play in his studio. Now, when he did, he had they had a show that came on Netflix or somewhere. They didn't portray that right because the
mm,
OJs were the first group to ever perform there. But he evolved and eventually it was called Soul Train when he left there and went to Los Angeles. But we were the first band to ever play on it. It was just a room full of kids, and Don probably never thought it would end up being as big as it was. But I look back on those things, and like I said, I share all these stories in my book, and the band plays on. For everybody who's out there, please get it. It's a really, really interesting book, a
yes. Look at the
backstage
book.
past in my whole life, all about how the ups and downs of the band and how little things happen and the good and the bad and how we got to be bad boys and got through that and all of our music all the way up until it was in real time, all the way up until actually I retired for about a year and a half before coming back out as Larry D.
Pick that book up, everybody. So
Yeah, man.
I want to talk about Watt Stacks. So that
Mm.
was commemorating the 7th anniversary of the whole 1965 riots that took place with Miss Price and her sons and how they were arrested. So how did you feel about that? Like the whole situation in itself?
It was an honor to be even involved in it. It was one of those things that we never ever expected to turn out to be the iconic film that it was, music film, because Al Bell, who was then the president of Stax, he just went through Stax, said, "Look, I got a great idea. Let's do something to help heal the turmoil that was going on and all the injustices that had happened." And in Watts, he said, "Are we game?" And he went one by one, Staple Singers, William Bell, all of us, and we all said yeah. And it was only $2 to get in. And in
Mm.
our minds, we were going to do an iconic concert with about maybe 25, 30,000 people. It ended up being 100,000 people. And not only was it an amazing concert, but it was an iconic film. And it's to this day, it's the biggest concert that we've ever been on. You know, it's the most people we've ever played for at one time. And I will say we kind of helped steal the show because from that performance, they used our pictures of us, Isaac Hayes, who had Shaft out at that time, and I think the Staple Singers. We were from that point on, we were on the trailer and we were on all the posters. So I guess they thought a lot of our performance, and we were very sharp too.
Wow. Yeah, I watched so the part with I was watching the part very so with the late great Richard Pryor and some of the other individuals, they were speaking on it and I was just like, okay, that was interesting. And then of course the music part, I'm like, okay, the Staple Singers and then you all, and I'm like, okay, this is dope. Like I like stuff like that.
Richard Pryor was the glue. I mean, he had us crying, laughing. The segues they go in and out. I mean, it was like amazing, man. He was like so funny. And we got to meet him in person a couple of times. He actually introduced us. One time we were playing the Beverly Wilshire Hotel, and he was so funny backstage. We were rolling. We couldn't even come on. We had to wipe the tears out of our eyes. Our eyes had turned red from laughing. He was just so amazingly funny.
Well, that's an awesome experience. And I know that so you're not just a songwriter, singer, you are a huge philanthropist, and that's dope. And you're also an entrepreneur. And I want to like thank you for your HBCU advocacy. I am a Clark Atlanta University graduate, and
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. And thank you for all that you've done. You have an honorary doctorate from Lemoyne Owens that you received in 2019. That's exceptional. And thank you for the Black college support, the college fairs and the tours, the recruitment, all the work that you do. And Barcase Foundation that has funded 41 scholarships. That's dope. So thank you for all of that. And what made you do that? Like, that's exceptional.
You know what? It's in my family's DNA. We've always been a family business. We started our booking agency in 1999. We started our record label in 2003. But I'm a firm believer that life is God's gift to you. What you do with your life is your gift to God. We've
Amen.
always given back. It ain't. We don't wave a flag about it. It's nothing that we go around saying, "Nah, nah, 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 look what we've done." We just do it and quietly. And we just give back. We just give back. I mean, and it's so rewarding. It's such a really good feeling to see a kid who wouldn't have a chance to go to school or needed, $1,000, $3,000, $2,000, $4,000, $5,000 short, to enable him just to go to college, and a college that he sometimes walked past and say, "I'll never get a chance to go there." You know what I'm saying? And that was the inspiration that really started it. We looked at Miss Marjorie Barringer, who's part of the Scholarship Foundation. She said, she's a retired teacher. She said, "You know what? She said, these kids who live across the street from this college, Lemoyne Owens College, and speaking of Memphis HBCU, she said, they'll never have a chance to go there. What can we do about it?" From that statement, that triggered our foundation. And we have just hundreds of thousands of dollars ready for kids to go to college every year. We sent 5 this year.
Oh, thank you. That is so awesome, because I'm being a graduate of HBCU. Like, we know how hard it is, the struggles and the sacrifices. Like, sometimes I remember I couldn't even go home. I had to work like for the semester and whatnot. So I definitely get it. And I got like partial scholarships. And thank you to UNCF. So that's awesome. And I thank you for doing that, because it is hard. It really is. And most of the HBCUs, there are some public ones or state ones, and then most of them are private. And I know that my institution was private. So, it's very, it's dope
It's
when
difficult.
you have it's difficult, and it's very dope when you have individuals that are so understanding and giving back to the community. And I definitely thank you for that.
Yeah, it's a labor of love. It ain't even and they surprised me. I think it was maybe 2 years ago when they gave me the honorary doctorate. I mean, it was one of the highlights of my life. And you know what? During that time, my wife of 50 years, she had decided to go back to college. So I said, "Are you sure?" She said, "Well, yeah, I got unfinished business on my on the education side in my life. That's just something that's bugging me." I said, "Okay, go ahead, and we'll just we'll rearrange things and make sure we help." As life would have it, as God would have it, she graduated cum laude on the same day that I received my honorary doctorate. I got my doctorate in the morning. That morning, she came to see me, and then I left and went to see her walk down the aisle on that very same day. What are the chances of that happening? So I know, it's so ordained by God, man. So it was just those are the
Congratulations.
things. Thank you. And I would tell her exactly, because those are things that are just priceless, man. So I don't just walk the walk. I mean, I talk the talk. I walk the walk. And I thank Lemoyne on for that, because there was only 2 people that day that got that. And the other guy was, his name escaped me. He's a very big actor. Obviously, he had been really, really involved in HBCUs. He plays on Greenleaf. He's the husband on Meet the Browns. I can't think of his name. His name escapes me now.
Oh, Levon.
Yes. The
I think
husband. The one
Levon
that's
Brown.
a doctor. Yeah.
Oh, Lamont.
Is that his name? His name escapes me. He's the
I'm
husband.
mispronouncing his name, but I know who you're talking about. I think that's
Yeah.
him. I
That's
think.
him. That's him. A great guy. He and I were the only guys that got that.
Okay.
So that was an honor. He's a very nice guy.
And so you talked about the entertainment, the La Marie. Am I pronouncing that right? So
Yeah, La Marie is
entertainment
correct.
complex. So how did that come into place? And first, the name. How did you come up with the name?
My wife's name is Marie, and
Oh,
the LA is for Larry. And my son's
oh,
name is the same as mine. It's a family business. We started that in 1999. She's president of it, and I mean, I thought, you know what I really thought? I thought that maybe since we were just doing real well during that time, I said maybe it's not a good idea for me to try to just be all out front with that. So she was president, and as it turned out, everybody trusted us because they knew me and they knew I would always work in their best interest. And we celebrated 20 years last year.
that's awesome.
That's awesome, man.
That really is. Like, that's a huge accomplishment.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and we just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and now everybody knows about our Marie's.
Mm,
Everybody. I own a
God.
tour called the Masters of Funk, and it's about 30 bands that are like Confunction, Brick, Daz Band, Ohio Players, Mary Jane Girls. We all travel together, and I own that tour.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah,
That's
30 old
awesome.
school bands. It's incredible. We all play together for 3 hours.
Y'all got to come to DC. I want to go to that concert. I would definitely come and support that.
DC is a place that we do come at least once a year. When this COVID is over with, we'll be rolling.
I would
We'll be
definitely come
rolling.
and support.
Yeah.
And you're also the co-owner of the Music Moves Records. How did that come into place?
After I came out of retirement, it took me 7 months to find somebody to take my place before I decided to retire. And I just didn't retire from the bar because I retired from music, period. I had just spent 5 decades and was blessed to have a hit record in all decades. So my son, well, after I decided to come back, I didn't want to bother the kid who I had to take my place. So we decided to form a record label that we owned. As I said, we're a family business. So my son and I, we share interest in that, and my wife as well. And my record, I'm Good, was the first single, the first release on an album. And we got very lucky because it has been a really, really big hit. A really big hit on Billboard and everywhere.
I like the video. Like, I really love the whole inspiration. Well, I'm assuming the inspiration is love and
Of
great.
course it is. Of
So
course it is.
I see the couples at the end. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So how did that come into place?
With my wife's permission, because that ain't my wife. It wasn't no touchy, feely. It wasn't all that hoopty doopty. It wasn't no. It was a good. I had to get her permission. We've been married 50 years, man.
That's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
congratulations. Like 50 years. That's wow. I want to be like you when I grow up.
Yeah. You know, I joined the band in April of 1970, and I got married in that same year in August the 21st. And my son, his anniversary, he got married on that same day. So we share our anniversaries together.
Wow.
Same name, same anniversary. Yeah. How cool is that?
That's really cool. And
Yeah.
so you also have something that I think some people really will want to hear about, the Guidance Whiskey. So how did that come into place?
My son, he's always he got me to do my book. He's my inspiration. He's a great kid. I just, he's like my American Express card. I never leave home without him, you know. And he said he brought these African American guys to me, and he said these guys got a whiskey that's really, really good. It's black owned. Pop, why don't you just talk to them? They need a celebrity spokesman, and I became the captain. First of all, the whiskey is great. It's top shelf. It's very, very good, and that was one thing that got me involved. The fact that it was black owned was really enticing to me, and I thought, you know, I'd be a good celebrity guy for the whiskey, you know, and it turned out to be a very, very good marriage. Yeah, and so I'm in the liquor business. Now I'm in the liquor business, so we're in the liquor business now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So make sure y'all go to Guidance Whiskey and support that. Because I know a lot of y'all want to support that. Yes. Go ahead to guidancewhiskey.com.
It's a great whiskey.
You can get it.
You're absolutely right.
And you also, go ahead.
I was about to say that I can't talk too much about it, but I have just recently moved on, and I would just say we're in the whiskey business, but I let somebody else become a spokesman for guidance because I have bigger and brighter days now. Yeah,
Awesome.
I can't share any more than that, but I'm just saying it's bigger and it's brighter.
Well, we will
Mhm.
be supporting that whenever
There you
you're
go. You'll be there. You
announcing
go.
that. And so also thank you so much for the whole disability rights, like the advocacy. Thank you for that, because a lot of people don't realize that individuals with disabilities, like how hard they have it, and your work with the Down Syndrome Association. Thank you so much for that. Like that really is dope, because people with disabilities, their voice needs to be heard.
Yep, my daughter, and most people who know me because I share all these things in my book. My firstborn, her name is Precious. She was born Down syndrome, and she is such a success story. It's not, it's, even though it's mentally challenging for her, she is a success story. She has worked for 26 years.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
and we're writing a book now called Keep Looking Up When It's Downs. And it's all about my wife is writing a book with me, and we'll be finished with it very soon. It's all about our journey raising a Down syndrome kid, and it's going to be such a therapeutic journey for those who read the book. It's a ministry, you know what I'm saying? Because so many parents don't really understand how much there is in these kids, no matter if they're physically or mentally challenged. And our story is they're gonna trip when they hear all the things our daughter has done and the hurdles she's been able to go overcome medically, mentally, physically, everything. So we just determined to finish this book. Keep looking up when it's down.
And I will definitely check that out, because like
Absolutely. It's amazing. It's gonna be amazing.
really is. And you are also the host of the Larry Dodson Show every Saturday at 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at 104.1 WAVN The Trend.
You have
So
done your homework. You've done your homework, girl.
thank
I
you.
don't know nobody who's interviewed me that knows as much about what we're doing. And I'm doing as you do. I tip my little hat to you. You're
Thank you.
absolutely right.
Thank
I
you.
That's my newest venture. Again, my son brought it to me. He said this is a new radio station. They need a celebrity on the radio as part of their staff. Pop, what do you think? I am totally enjoying it. It is so cool. I do my own playlists, and they don't bother me. I have a studio in my home. I have the freedom to record here or live. I just had Darren Henson, who is one of the kids
See
who
that.
play. You saw that? Yeah, he plays
Yeah.
on Family Business,
Yes.
an amazing series, and he's such a nice guy. Yeah, and we're gonna be doing some stuff together. I can't talk about right now. Be doing some movie stuff together.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
definitely can't wait to see that. And so I do have your song, I'm Good, and I would like to show a snippet of that for the people at home who have not seen it. Because of course YouTube has you can't show everything. So so
Yeah.
I need to see that. So I'm going to show a little bit of it for everyone. So let me get that up right now.
Get that up so I can go to the bathroom.
Gotcha. I'm not gonna hold you too long, Tress. Look, because I get hit all the time. I tend to go over time. So
Are you
okay, so
okay? You good? You good? Good. Go ahead and play it.
okay. So it's playing. Here we go. Don't need the money, don't need the fame, don't need a million fans screaming my name. Don't get me wrong, I'm grateful for all that I have.
But if I didn't have it or they took it away, I wouldn't stress it out. I'd be okay. Cause I got my baby and she gives me everything I want and need. That's why I say, long as I got you, I'm good. Ain't no other girl but me, I'm good. If I had to walk through world and back, I would. Baby, long as I got you, I'm good. Don't need a team to be in the town. Don't need no medicine when I'm in pain. Don't need a potion of pain. Cause baby, you work me out. Every day is a holiday, so I celebrate. Girl, you're the best thing God ever made. I love you so much. You're more than enough for my life. So believe me when I say, long as I got you, I'm good. Ain't no other girl like me, I'm good. If I had to walk through world and back, baby, long as I got you, where to come to and need.
Okay, I cut it short because they're gonna start casting me on YouTube. So wow, that was interesting. That's my first time watching it. So yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we shot that here in Memphis, man. The yacht scenes were out on the Mississippi River. So yeah, most of my videos I shoot right here in Memphis with some really cool, young, innovative producers and directors. So that was cool. It was very cool. It was very, very cool. I liked it, and a lot of folks liked it. The song is so inspiring. As long as I got you, I'm good. It explains it. Even if you want to get religious, as long as I got you up there, I'm good. It's always a lot of ways to interpret it, but I fell in love with the lyric, man, when I first saw it. The producer is the same kid who does Charlie Wilson. He's doing a great deal of my album, which is I'll tell you that the album is called Yours Truly, Larry D.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when is that coming out?
I'll be finished with it. This is March. I'll be finished with it in May.
Okay, so we're gonna definitely check that
Yeah,
out.
yeah. It's these are songs, like I said, yours truly, like you're writing a letter. All the songs are like written as if they're love songs to my fans. And at the end it says yours truly, Larry D.
Well, that's awesome. So this is my last question.
Sure.
So who are your top female and male vocals of all time?
Of all time.
They don't have to be in order. They can be in any order.
You know what?
Mm-hmm.
To me,
Mm-hmm.
I think Ray Charles is one of my favorites. I think he is probably, I don't think there's anybody who moves me like Ray Charles did when he was around. I don't think there's anybody on the female side that moved me like Aretha Franklin did.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I would say Ray Charles, Aretha Franklin. And much love to Stevie Wonder, who's right up there. But Ray Charles, and you know what? I'm going to tell you something else. One of the most inspiring things is there's a video in my head when I first saw Nat King Cole on his TV show in the 50s. He was so cool, and there was nobody else on TV but him, and he was so worthy of it. I'll never forget that he was such a pioneer for African American inspiration, and he was so poised and so he was just excellent. He was a gentleman. He was refined. He was everything that a black man should aspire to be.
That's awesome.
Way before his time. Way before his time.
And so where can we check you out? Where can we find you at? The fans, viewers.
You can find me www.thelarrydotson.com. That's my website, and on there you can buy my book, and find out all about my tour schedules. Everything is going on in my world. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram on The Real Larry Dodson. And for those of you who want to catch my show from 10 o'clock to 12 on Saturdays, Central Standard Time, you go to www.wavnthetrend.com. Let me say it again. That's www.wavnthetrend.com. And you can hear Uncle Larry do his thing. And let me just give you 2 hours of some stuff that you don't get all the time.
Well, thank you so much. This has been so dope. Like, thank you so much for sharing your time with us.
It's my pleasure. It's been delightful.
And God bless you. And I can't wait till the tours open back up so I can support. So.
Oh man, yeah. And I think we're getting there. You know, I think we as African Americans, we're getting a little bit more induced and a little bit more in favor of getting the vaccines. And I think that everybody who has apprehensions, I think you're right, you deserve to have those. But get over it and get your vaccinations, man, and go ahead and get protected so you can protect others, because it's so many asymptomatic people. Most people that I bet you in your orbit or in mine who have gotten it have no idea where they got it from. That's even true. No matter how careful they are, it's so many people who have it and don't know they got it. They ain't got no symptoms or nothing, but they're asymptomatic. Get the shots and protect yourself and protect others. And just in my last thought, I would just say, it's hard to get tripped up if you stay on your knees. How about that?
Man.
And get tripped up if you stay on your knees. All right.
Thank you so much. And it's been a pleasure. And thank you for everybody who's tuning in. And we're going to have to edit the video into 2. So it's okay.
I know it. I know I talk too much, but you asked, I had to give it to you.
No, I have to let everybody at home know. They're like, hold up. So those who are going to watch later, the video will be edited. So, I mean, it's on my page. It's going to be live. So y'all will see that, but I'm going to edit the video. So, yeah.
And you know what? I've never seen anybody interview, and I do Zooms and interviews, I mean, 10 a week probably. You have been the most informed I have ever seen. You interview well, and you do your homework, and it makes it so much easier for me. Okay. All right.
Like,
you be well.
I have to do that because, you know, as a millennial, I have to, you know, bring my A game, and I love music. I'm from Flint, Michigan originally. So, you know, I love music, whole Motown scene. And I'm like, before you got on here, me and Law, we were talking about songs, and we were talking about, you know, a lot of people are not doing the right research on making sure that these individuals have the credits they deserve. Like, you can't just go take somebody's song and make it your own. And how do you not know that that is your song when you know that beat sounds familiar? And so I was joking with one of my friends, because in college, he's my little brother. So I told him, I said, they need to hire us so we can like listen to some of these songs and say, hey, that's sampled, that's copied. I think you need to go back and
pay them
their money. So, you know, the whole copywriting, we were talking about how that's important. We were talking about songs that have been sampled or whatnot. So yeah. But thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And definitely.
You be well and have me back sometimes, okay?
I definitely will for a part 2, because I want to hear about the new thing.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Have a good one. Have a good one, sir.
I'll have some stuff for you. You be well. See you later.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you're hearing a cat yelling in the background, that's my cat. She's neat. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. And again, the video will be edited. And thank you for your patience. And this has been great. And so my next guest will be Marcus Machado next week on Wednesday, the 24th, guitarist. And Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And thank you, Law. Thank you again for the tribute. Have a great one. Bye.